If you could hire Alex Hormozi to build your real estate brand in 2026, what would he tell you? How would he approach real estate marketing? How would he think about branding? How would he position you in a crowded market? In this video, I am going to show you how to take his ideas and break them down through a real estate lens. Not just watch his content, not just take notes, but actually dissect his thinking and turn it into a strategy you can apply directly to your real estate business. And I want you to stick around until the end because I am going to show you all the different ways you can use this method. Let's get into it.
AI for real estate agents.
So the first thing I always like doing is when I want to learn a topic, when I want to get information, one of the places I go to is YouTube, right? Why? Because it's like a free university. Here's what I like to do. I take the videos that I do like, so I'll watch videos, and I find the ones that I like. I use a tool called Merlin. You can get the transcripts for any video. So copy without timestamps. So essentially what I do is I just transcribe the entire video. And then I put it into a Google Doc, just copy and paste it, and I download it. What I do next is actually quite simple. I bring that over to ChatGPT and I open up a new project. So I could just call it Brand Building 2026. And I create this new project. So what a project allows you to do, it allows you to have specific conversations with documents and files and things that you upload. And you can keep coming back to this area. So if I want to have a conversation and keep this conversation growing, I simply add a file here. This one. Yep. Here we go. So I add the file. I could have different memory, different instructions. I want you to act as a billionaire brand consultant. Let's keep it simple here. But now I have this information. And it's almost like I'm talking to this video, but through my lens. And I could say something like, hey, what's going on? I'm really looking to incorporate what Alex is saying about building a brand in 2026 into my business. I want to break this down into core pillars that he is talking about, different content strategies, things to look out for, and kind of give myself a roadmap for what to look for in 2026. So it's essentially, I take this information, put it into a project and say, all right, let's start talking to it, right? So now I'm talking to this and it's going to start diving into the project and it's going to start breaking this down for me. The big shift, reach is cheap, trust is rare. All right. So it breaks it down, core pillars. All right. And we can go through this. And then, this is where you can just go deeper and deeper with this. Look, family, this is your collaborator, your thought partner. One of the most important things you do get is good data, good information. That's why I transcribed a YouTube video that I discerned was really good. Brought it over here and you can start collaborating with it. So that's one of the things that we can do when we want to start diving deep into a specific topic. One, you can get a YouTube video, transcribe it, bring it over to ChatGPT and start talking with it and collaborating with it. What else can we do? Well, here's another one of my favorite things that I like doing too. So inside of ChatGPT, there is something called deep research. If you hit this button, hit deep research. And I could explain it to you, but it's pretty much exactly what it says. It runs deep research on any topic that you want. So let's say I'm like, I want to learn more about Alex Hormozi and his branding strategy for 2026. Use only information in the past 4 months, I would say, to learn about his brand strategy. Kind of keep it simple here. But deep research will then ask you more questions. Like, all right, so what are you trying to learn, right? So I'll ask you some questions and then you would answer. Yep, here we go. So for the sake of time here, you'll see deep research does take about 10 minutes, 14 minutes at certain time. But it does exactly what it says. It runs deep research on any topic that you want. So here we go. Alex Hormozi's personal brand playbook, step-by-step guide. And it will go through and it will show you where it's getting it. It's pulling its information. LinkedIn, on LinkedIn with Alex Hormozi, Reddit, LinkedIn, nurture style. But it's going through and it's running deep research on any topic, right? But I'm not going to say, I mean, you can sit here and read through all this, and that's great. That's an option. Couple things we can do with this now, with this information. So I can now take this and then just download it. So what's one thing we can do? Well, we could take it over to projects, right? The thing that we just learned, put this over on a project and start collaborating with this. I want to show you guys one of my other favorite tools when it really comes down to expanding on a thought or an idea. So there's a tool called NotebookLM. It's a Google part of their Google suite. NotebookLM. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to upload files into this NotebookLM. And let's say I wanted to create a podcast from this information I just had. So if I go to NotebookLM, I do create new note, and I just upload to this one. And it uploads, and then once it's done uploading, I can click audio overview. And that will literally create an AI podcast, like 2 AI voices talking back and forth about the topic that I just uploaded. And you can add like prompts and get more specific. But you can do audio. You can do mind map. And it will take all the information and put it into a mind map and allow you to expand into it. You can do flashcards if you want to just learn it. Infographic. For the sake of time here, I already did some of these for us. So here's an example of taking that information, Alex Hormozi's personal brand playbook, and then I turn it into a podcast.
You know the one, rented Lamborghinis, perfectly tailored suits, and some guy on a balcony telling you you're poor because you don't wake up at 3 a.m.
Right. The whole Instagram aesthetic
Right.
is so polished and aspirational, and honestly, usually feels completely unattainable.
Exactly, it feels so manufactured. But today, we are diving into a playbook that
And look, family, this can work for any topic. Yes, I'm going through Alex Hormozi, but let's think, what are some other ways we can utilize this? Well, you know those market reports that you get every single month? How can you think about this differently? How can you collaborate with it differently? Uploading it to NotebookLM. And then you get a custom podcast and you can listen to it and just hear about the market and all the updates. You could also create, this is the infographic. So it essentially takes all that information and creates a custom infographic based on the information. And again, family, this is where to me, I'm just looking at all the different creative ways that I can look at the same topic, right? I can listen to it on a podcast. I can collaborate with it through words, through ChatGPT. I can view it as an infographic. I also like the mind map. So again, it takes the information and then it builds into a mind map for you, into the different columns and the values that he's talking about. So we have brand versus arbitrage. All right. So what does he mean by this? Buying clicks for spread, brand, premium association, reach, and influence. All right. Let's keep it rolling. Power of association, recruit 2 to 3 premium influencers, recruit aspirational heroes. So this can take any problem, any skill, any information that you are trying to comprehend and then give you so many different ways to look at it, right? So for me, it's one of my favorite things that I do on the weekend, just to be covering different topics, learning different areas, looking at it from so many different angles, and taking you guys through that process, whether it's NotebookLM, where you can create custom podcasts, infographics, or mind maps, or just going through ChatGPT, where you can use deep research on any topic that you want, and then using it in a project to get more information from it. And, you know, yes, we're here to talk about real estate, but one of my other things that I love doing with this too is, I don't know about you guys, I love history. One of my favorite people to study is Alexander the Great. Like, I have a couple books on him, and I just feel like I can't get enough. But I'll also go into ChatGPT and do deep research on some of his battles, on some of his wars, and it will pull information for me. And sometimes I'll have some fun and I'll say, very poor spelling, right in the style of Steven Spielberg. And then it will take all of this information, write me a custom story on any person in history that I want in movie styles, book styles. And then it becomes custom content that I'm able to curate. And then again, if I want to go and create a podcast about Alexander the Great, I can go do that.
If you're a real estate agent and don't want to get left behind with all of these AI updates, guys, you're in the right place because we created the world's very first AI certified agent. We have an entire AI institute dedicated to the real estate industry. We have a top custom GPT in the ChatGPT store just for the real estate industry. All you got to do is check out some of the links in the description below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And if you're still here, go ahead and check out one of the other videos that we just shot.